The pieces are absolutely flying in this chaotic finish at the Global Chess League. We've got magnanimous Carlsbad playing with the white pieces, Alireza Firouzja with black. These guys can't stop meeting. What a thrilling contest this was. What does Magnus do? Kicks off with d4 here, d5 from Alireza, and he explodes the board with the dynamite c4. Now the clock time's on the left, 20-minute shootout and no increment. What a scramble finish. We get e6 from Alireza. All the knights now come charging into the game and pawn to c6. Sets up the overpowered pyramid of Caesar. Now we get g3 from Magnus. Does he want to fianchetto the horsey? No. We see Alireza taking that c pawn, does a gobble gobble, very tasty, and Magnus, sanity prevailing, fianchetters that bishop, and Alireza brings the fourth pony into the game. And now how about this? Chess of the modern age, pawn to a4, and watch how it goes. Just gets better. That one clamps on b5, bishop e7, both players castle, tap the table in appreciation, and now a5 from Magnus, still not doing anything with his pieces or the centre, going for a big old clamp. Knight d5, Alireza centralises, and how about this for a move? Kasparov shocked. Pawn to h4. How can you just keep pushing those rookie pawns there? What is this modern chess? Is he really a super grandmaster or a very naughty boy? Now we get bishop b4 and a5 is under fire. Already Alireza's a pawn ahead, right? But after bishop g5, Magnus is just saying, I don't care. He attacks the queen, does a poker face. Alireza spots it, one of the top blitz players, and after queen c2, Alireza's like, fine, I know you want to attack me, but I'm going to die with a full tummy. If you want to try and checkmate me, he takes the pawn on a5. That's 2 pawns ahead now for black. e4 from Magnus. He erects that big white centre, but the noble steed does not yet move. He first takes on c3, giving up the bishop pair, cementing Magnus's centre. What's the point? Well, after this one backpedals, Alireza completely forgetting which way to move his pieces. Now he doesn't have to worry about any pawn b3. He can really cement this structure. Now, why doesn't Magnus take here, shatter the pawns? Well, there isn't enough attacking firepower yet. You want to hold on to these two Bs. So instead, we see knight e5, galloping forward, hitting the weak pawn. Alireza supports it with pawn b5, using his majority. Queen c1 from Magnus. Excellent nudgy move. What happens if h6? Well, you might be thinking this, but even stronger is this. This is the way to go. Shatter the king. The knight hops back and the king's getting ripped to shreds. Cannot do that. So we come back here. Best move, bishop b7, a5 an option, but Alireza plays king h8, sidestep into the corner. We're going to see the point, but it's not best. Magnus can actually immediately take on c6 with the pony. Great move. Then e5 comes. This bishop opened on the weakened knight, unprotected knight even, and this one's creating a deadly pin down here. Or there's h5, h6, really threatening plan, but none of it done. Queen f4 selected, huge threat now to shatter the structure, break through to the monarch, and that's why this knight has to give ground. Either support, as Alireza does, or come to g6, open the queen, different game. Then the queen can come to f3, if knight g6. But this one was played, backpedaling, covering, but leaving the protection of this pawn. Magnus wins one back, hits the queen, again Alireza spots it, slides out to b6, knight e5 playable, but Magnus sharpens things up here with queen to d6, lodging himself in Alireza's throat there, choking the whole position with that white widow spider, supporting the knight, and e5 on the way without blocking out the queen. So bishop b7 played, intensifying the pressure. Magnus goes e5, covering the knight, but hang on. Can't you do this? Cover the way now. Well, no, not good. Now you do give up the bishop pair for a real concrete tactical reason. The excellent shot here of knight takes on a7. opening the tension here, unprotected queen, and you can't take here, of course, the rook's on the piece. This is a sample line, white doing great. So we come back. We didn't see the move of knight d5. Instead, Alireza takes. Correctly, Magnus could take with the queen, get those ones off. A few fans are disappointed when he doesn't, but don't worry. Rook a d8 forces the queen to c5, and we get the exchange that we're longing for if we're Magnus fans here. The queen's leaving the board, and the knight on f6 still under fire. You can go rook c8, hit that bishop. Different variation, you know, this can be played to protect and so on and so forth, but we'll stick with the game. h6 was played, saying you take me, I take you, pick up the bishop pair. Magnus wants none of it, retreats to c1, e3 also good, but he wants to bounce around like this. Now the knight centralizes, comes away from the attack. Bishop takes on b5, Magnus slowly restoring the material. This knight takes here, hits the bishop, takes on c4, covers the e2 checking square, and so Alireza now centralizes his rook, but immediately bringing that horsey back into the game was best. This one played, however, an iron cross in the center of the board. Bishop a6 played to stay on this important long diagonal, and now the knight hops right back, centralizing once more. c6 played, push 'em baby, as Yasser Serwan would say, and knight g7 on the board, finally coming out the box, hitting the pawn, but Magnus unravels beautifully here, starting with bishop a3, no time to take the pawn or you lose rookie on f8, so it slides to e8 here, and now rook fc1, using the vacated square, c7 on the way, the c pawn running, so this knight blockades. They're the best blockading pieces. Still they can influence the game from behind the ramparts, and now the bishop retreats all the way home with a whoosh. Dad ashamed, what are you doing back here? Underdeveloped here. Now the knight re-centralizes, finally making its way from the back rank there, and bishop c5 from Magnus. Look at the power of those snipers on the open board. This one now moves into the attack. Rook takes on a7. Magnus now for the first time a pawn ahead, and what a pawn it is there. A pass juicer. Rook c8 played to do some defensive work. Bishop d6, natural as sage and onion, and f5, desperate for counterplay, looking for this, but Magnus, having none of it, takes en poisson. That's what they call the move in the French-speaking countries of Africa, so named after an Algerian French-speaking fish called Louis, a pioneer, by the way, of stockfish. Don't believe me, get on to Ask Jeeves. Excellent, excellent move. And after that move of en poisson, we see G takes on f6 back from Alireza Firouzja. He gets the nice structure there, two connected, but after this move of bishop h3, it comes under fire. Not the most precise one though. It lets Alireza out of the box because it loses control of b5. Better was simply going rook b7. Play it nice and slow, keep on the bind. But Magnus allows this one, unusual for him. He's so good at boa constricting, and the game gets crazy. Two pieces attacked. Now this one comes here, getting out of the forking way, also covering the bishop on d6, but now knight b6, these knights hop in with a vengeance, and how do you stay with the bishop when you're hitting the rook? It's all falling apart. So what does Magnus do? He finds one of the only moves here to stay in the game, and it's bishop to f4, gets the double exclams. Also good was rook b1 apparently, going for some counter-attack stuff here. This one played, hits that rook here, and if you execute the threat, which you were actually going for, then you can take here simply. The knight's got to save itself, and now you pick up these pawns here. This is good for white. You've got two pawns to the good, open board for the bishops. So we see takes on d7, best move. Pawn recaptures. These rooks being hoovered off the board here. Knight takes back, bishop takes, similar to the bad variation we just looked at, but a pawn better for Alireza, but still a pawn down. Magnus starts pressing. This bishop under fire, he's grinding like a grandma, jumping away from Alireza's attacks. Now both players start to bring in their kings in just a moment, but first Magnus again leaves this important diagonal by going to g2 here. Again, lets the knight out the box. From a6 it attacked, but also covered these important squares. Now Alireza gets this hop, saying you take me on b7, I take your bishop on a3. Magnus doesn't want it, wants to keep the power of that pair. Now knight c5, connecting these knights. What a minor piece battle, but with Magnus the pawn ahead, he's the one now pushing here. Wants the win for his team because this is a team event. He finally gets the pawns running, now bringing the king. Soon he gets all three running, those trio of dragons here. h5, technically best immediately to try and break up the pawns, gain access to this square, but missed. Knight e6, given the question mark. Bishop a3, more attacks on these pieces. The knight saves itself. King e4, and now h5 seen by Alireza, but a bit too late because bishop c4 can now come, picking up the tempo, driving back the knight, and g5 not played is a killer move. We're in the back cave here because after a line like this, you just suffocate all of the black pieces. Magnus typically finds these variations like they're absolutely nothing, right? Marching the pawn, bringing in the king. Let's just pause it here. You can see it's an absolute domination. These ones killing the board along with the pawn, king marching in, and then you get the connected ones running. But g5 not played. Magnus takes, splitting up his pawns, but now knight h6, looking for this square, and Magnus cedes it immediately. Not a good move. It jumps in straight away. Magnus, still bouncing with his bishops, brings it round, gets the king super active. This is what he's envisioned, low on time, but Alireza with the absolutely astonishing knight to g2. And now, after check, king giving ground. If you take the knight, not played, then there's this, and yes, this is technically a game where you can press with the white pieces, two bishops, but should be a theoretical draw. Okay, anything can happen low on time. But this was not played here. We come back. Instead, Magnus pushes the pawn, keeping tension, keeping what he perceived to be better winning chances alive. And now after this check here, although he drops a minor piece after he gains one and loses a pawn, he's running the f-pawn. This is what he's pinning his hopes on. Forrest Gump running here for the hills, trying to make a baby girl. The knight covers the square. And this is the problem. This is why it's a draw. You can never promote because the knight just takes, then it's a draw and end game with the bishop. So Magnus bringing the king round, but now the check drives it away. Knight bounces back. What to do? The eval bar level on the left-hand side here. Stock mollusk, not impressed. Now we get to this position here, and after king e6, again you should check, but Alireza does not do it. Incredibly, he plays king to h5. Is this a blunder on low time or deliberately done to bring it to a time scramble? Who knows, right? King f6 played by Magnus, taking the space, knight drops back, and the queen is made on the board here. Magnus completely winning. King g4 played. Now we see the move of king e5. Massive blunder, walking into knight g6 check. But does it get played? No. Alireza plays the incredible knight g6 check, getting completely mixed up. Yes, he does do that. Bit late here, apologies. King e4. Now I'll pause for dramatic effect. Does he take the lady off the board? No. He plays the move of knight h4. Absolute dirty flag here. Magnus loses on time despite being hugely ahead in the run-up here, and Alireza wins the game. There's no increment. I have to say, I kind of hate this time control. Not because Magnus lost, but I think it's a crazy time control when they're over the board. But it gives us excitement. Hey, Alireza takes it. Magnus's team got steamrolled this match. Hope you enjoyed. Smash subscribe if you did, and I'll be back with another video on Sunday when I'm back in the UK. Cheers for watching. Hope to see you again soon.